Hello, everyone. I'm Captain Logan. Here's Jason. And Jason and I are in Arkansas right now. We're on a little trip to 64 Galore, Highway 64, which is 150 miles of yard sales that happen every year in August. And we like to come down here when we can. We haven't done it in several years, but now we finally had a chance to do it again. And I did a couple of impromptu live shows last week with Dan Torrey. Also did the regular Captain Logan show with Dan. And Jason really wanted in on that action. He was like, Dad, can we shoot a live show? And I was like, sure, we're going to do a live show. So that's what we're doing. Anybody that wants to pop in, we're just going to hang out with you guys for about an hour or so probably. Jason and I have some other things we want to do a little bit later, so we're not going to do a big 3-hour stream like we did, like Dan and I did last week. But anyway, how you doing, man? How's Jason?
It's me, and I got sunglasses on.
Yeah. Yeah, that kind of thing is cooler when you don't draw attention to it. You should just be like, hi, I'm here. And then just see if anybody even notices the sunglasses. You got a real Elton John thing going on with those sunglasses. But anyway, so we're just gonna hang out. If you guys want to ask us anything, if you want to chat about anything in particular, feel free to throw out questions and topics as always, as we often do on these live shows. And in the meantime, we're just gonna chat about what we've been doing. Jason, we are, let's see. Donnie St. Pierre just sent this this comment. Cap, you can't just put a new video on Patreon, interrupt the old After Dark I'm watching, and then go live. Yeah, sorry about that. I forgot that I had just put a new video on Patreon. I had that unlisted and realized I hadn't posted that yet. So anyway, sorry about that, folks. But we just had a really good block of time here to go ahead and go live, so we thought we would do that. This weekend we are trying out for the very first time Airbnbs, which we have never done before. Always stayed in hotels, and I've always heard good things about Airbnb as a website, as an institution. And if you're not familiar with that, it's a lot of folks just with their own residences and buildings they own, basically running their own independent hotel rooms. And sometimes they're bed and breakfast, which is why it's called B&B, and sometimes they're just kind of a hotel room. And it's really convenient to not have to deal with some of the irritants about a lot of hotels, and to have just kind of a simpler experience. And it's a lot more, at least this first one that we're in, which is absolutely fantastic. We're, by the way, right now in Fort Smith, Arkansas. It's a little bit, like I said, simpler and more intimate, and just like somebody being cool enough to have, you know, their own space and set you up with it. It's cheaper, and the customer service is better so far than a lot of places I've been in. So anyway, we're excited about it. Tonight we had decent internet and a relatively quiet space. Tomorrow we're going to be kind of roughing it. We're staying in a tree house, which we're really excited about. Yes. That'll be really fun. We're in Fort Smith right now. We're going to be in Russellville tomorrow, which is my dad's hometown, and right around where I was born. But anyway, let's see what folks are saying in the comments.
No one is asking you questions. Everyone is asking me questions.
They just want to know things. Well, you haven't been on in a while. We haven't seen Jason in a long time. So yeah, everybody.
This is my actual face.
Everybody feel free to ask Jason questions. Jason, let's talk about you for a minute and catch everybody up to speed with things you've been doing. First of all, how old are you right now at this very moment?
I am 9.
And you're going into what grade?
4th grade.
Cool. Oh, he's back.
I'm so glad I'm going into 4th grade.
Why are you so excited about 4th grade?
Because I get another stern teacher.
Yay. How's dance been going? Jason's been in competitive dance for several years. How's that going?
Well, I actually went in Branson,
yep.
And in like early summer, and then in a few weeks I'm going to be in I'm going to be back. Cause August basically is
just back doing dance. But when you were in Branson, that was a big competition. And how did you do?
I did really good, and I got to do 2 dances again.
Yeah, you got called back for Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And then what were the awards you got?
And I got I don't remember. I remember what awards I got. But I
Hayden,
got a lot of awards.
Hayden Spring, did you ever finish watching Kamen Rider Gaim? No, I've not gone back to that. I need to do that. Did you watch that with us?
What?
When Eric and I watched Gaim, I can't remember.
What's Gaim?
That's a Kamen Rider. You know what Kamen Rider is?
No.
Kamen Rider is a Sentai, kind of like Power Rangers.
Okay.
Except usually with kind of more intricate storylines.
I did not watch that with you.
Oh, okay.
It
was fruit based.
You told me about this.
Yeah. No, it was awesome. Mm-hmm. Whereas like before they would essentially morph. You got pineapple or grape.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Yeah, it was great. No, we need to do that at some point. Donnie St. Pierre, Jason, did you like Captain Phasma in The Last Jedi?
So I'm kind of like Dad. I don't really like Last Jedi that much.
But how'd you feel specifically about how...
I liked Phasma, but I hated when she died.
Are you saying that because you think they'll bring her back again?
Yes.
You think that'll happen?
Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely likely. I think it's
and
likely.
I have a Phasma mask even though I'm a boy.
Did you just really like Phasma?
Yeah.
Yeah. Back Studios. All right, Jason. What are your thoughts on the current state of the American socio-political system? He wants you to talk about politics. He won't know what you're talking about, naturally. He's trying to figure that out.
Okay. Back Studios. So
I'm 9.
No. First off, I'm 9, and
See, I knew you were gonna say
I don't really care about politics right now because I'm a kid. You see how tall I am, okay?
See how tall I'm not? Hi, Mr. Roboto. Good to see you, man.
And also, why the heck do you love wheat tanks?
Yeah, why do you like wheat tanks that much? Somebody wants to know, Jason, if you like Star Wars or Star Trek more.
Star Wars.
Over Star Trek?
I mean, right now.
Really? That's a surprise. Just because you've always been so into Star Trek.
Yeah, I don't know.
You've been watching a lot of Star Wars lately, so you've been.
I don't know a lot about Star Trek, so I don't really know. Wheat tanks, vroom vroom.
You know quite a bit about Star Trek. It's just there's so much of it. There's a lot you haven't seen yet. You certainly know more about Star Trek than you do Star Wars.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously it's your opinion. That's cool. I was just surprised to hear you say that. Like I said, I know you've been in a big Star Wars kick lately, but I would imagine even 2 weeks ago you would have said Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
You just watched the original trilogy.
Yep.
For the first time in a while, and he didn't remember them. Some of them real well. So, what is your ranking of those movies? Which is your favorite of the 3 of the originals? 4, 5, and 6.
My favorite is 6. My second favorite is 3. I'm in 4. And I didn't like 5.
You didn't like Empire. You're just completely opposite from me. I think it's so interesting.
I'm a kid, okay? Every kid hates Empire.
That's probably not true. But
no,
is it because
I'm
it's boring?
5 feet tall.
Jason's actually 9 feet tall. That's great.
Dude, you don't be like a foot like a year. You don't earn a foot.
Jason, stop making signs at people. Blue Dragon 5, hey Jason, did you see Batman vs. Ninja Turtles yet?
Yes, and it's amazing. And they don't battle at all, okay? So yeah, why is it versus?
Yeah, the versus title was a little bit misleading there, but I was not surprised at all. Hayden Spring says, I loved Empire in 4th grade, but I'm a psychopath. Mr. Weeping Dalek in Back to the Future 2, how does old and young Biff interact without causing a paradox? That's a good question, but I've talked about this before, but that already starts from an impossible place, because that movie starts from a completely impossible premise, where Marty McFly... Have I talked to you about this?
What?
Where in Back to the Future 2, about how Back to the Future 2 is impossible, because Marty goes to the future and meets himself in the future, but he took himself out of the timeline, so how can old Marty be there? You ever thought about this?
Oh, yeah.
how like growing up, I never thought of this, and then a few years ago, Brandon and I made a video about it. So I don't even think about the Biff paradox thing as much because it already starts from an impossible premise. But you're right, that is a problem. A good old gamer, what's your favorite kind of hat? This is what I like.
I like these as well, but I also love caps.
You like ball caps?
Yeah, I love ball caps.
Do you really?
Yeah. Although I don't wear them a lot, but the thing is I don't have them.
So if you had one, you'd wear it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I never thought of you as like a ball cap too.
Time.
So I never thought to give you one.
Yeah.
So hey, before we answer some more questions, let's talk a little bit about what we've done so far on our trip here. Real whirlwindy for me. I just got back from Boston 3 or 4 days ago, and we turned right around to do this trip. I had not initially intended on doing this, but I need items for my flea market booth for Christmas, and I'm running a real niche flea market booth. It's all superheroes, so it's comics, but it's also superhero toys and paraphernalia and things like that. And we're about to get outside of yard sale season, so I'm not going to have any place to buy during Christmas season, and Christmas is my best season for the flea market. So look. We'll look at the comments again in a minute. Why don't you just talk to me for a second, and then we'll go back and look at them, okay? But anyway, so that's the main reason we're making this trip. So what do we do today?
We went to shops, and I mean shops.
Well, we did some yard sales on 64, a few. We're gonna start heading east tomorrow and do the whole 150-mile length in the next couple of days, or as much of it as we can, as we're doing a lot of stopping. But we bought a little bit. We went to a game exchange, which we don't have where I'm at, and that's a kind of catch-all video game store. So they have a little bit of everything, and sometimes you find really good retro stuff there. And I bought 2 NES games today that I never see in the wild. One of them I knew was a thing, and one of them I didn't. I did not realize Batman Returns was on the NES. I guess I just never noticed that, and so I bought one. And I looked that up, and apparently it's a little rare. It wasn't real expensive, but they just don't pop up that much. I also bought Darkman, which I had learned about a couple years ago and finally found a copy of. There's Christian Ogden. Hi there, how's it going?
Hey.
We are just on a trip to Arkansas and hanging out, and thought we would share a little bit with you, just like I did in Boston last week. Blue Dragon 5, Cap and Jason, did you ever see a Goofy movie? Yeah, when I was a kid, but I've never shown it to Jason.
What is that?
That is a Disney movie about Goofy. Goofy got his own movie. Do you know who Goofy is?
Yes!
Okay, I just wasn't sure. You haven't watched as much Disney cartoons as you have Warner Brothers cartoons, so I wasn't sure. Mr. Roboto, so Cap, any good restaurants? Tonight we went to Furs, which is
amazing.
Which is, I would say, not a great restaurant, but nostalgic for me, because when I was a kid, so it's kind of your average buffet. And for lack of a better way to put it, I think a lot of you guys, if you went there, would think of it as like an old people restaurant. Furs used to be a cafeteria-style restaurant when I was a kid, and my stepmom worked there, and we went there all the time, and so I have some nostalgia for it. Now, it's a much smaller chain than it used to be, and it's just a buffet, but they kept all their old recipes. So if you ate there years ago, decades ago now, all the food is the same. And Brandon loves that place. Last time he and I were here in Fort Smith, 5 years ago now, we ate there.
I was there too.
I did. Oh, that's right. You were there too. It was the three of us.
But I forget that place.
Brandon really wanted to be on this trip. You'd see him right now in the live show if we thought to do the live show, and he was here. But he had to work this weekend, so or at least the rest of this week, so he wasn't able to make it. 64 Galore starts on a Thursday, which is weird. I was really lucky that my wife was able to work from home the next couple days so that I could make this trip with Jason. And like I said, going on a little bit of an adventure here, trying out Airbnbs, and so far so good. This is our first one, and we're loving this room. It's a really cool space. Let me pick this up and see if I can show it to you guys a little bit. It's a nice, classy looking room. It's kind of the size of your average hotel room, and it's homier and more comfy than that, and amenities you don't always have at a hotel room. Like, you know, we've got a nice big TV over here that has Netflix on it already, and oh, I just lost Jason. There's Jason. Come here, kid.
Oh, there I am. Oh.
So anyway, let me see if I can pull up so the comments are not loading here. I think I'm gonna have to hold on. Hold on, everybody.
Just a minute.
Jason, you're gonna have to stall for me. Just stall for a minute.
Okay.
Talk more about Star Wars.
Okay. So Star Wars is amazing.
Just talk more substantially about Star Wars. Who's your favorite character in the original trilogy?
In the original trilogy?
Let's ask you that. Yeah.
Darth Vader, of course.
Oh yes, of course, naturally.
What's my second favorite character?
Yeah. Who do you like?
Let me think. What's my favorite obscure character? Ooh, oh, in the original
Sorry guys, I'm
Star
just trying
Wars,
to get
they got the stormtrooper that bonks his head on the door. That's my favorite
There we
obscure
go.
character.
Okay, let's answer some more questions.
And he's on the right side.
The right side?
Yeah.
Who are we talking about? What are we talking about right
Yeah,
now?
my favorite obscure Star
The
Wars
right
character,
side or the light side? What are we talking about?
The right side.
What does that mean? What's the right side?
My favorite obscure character from Star Wars is the stormtrooper on the right that bonks his head on the door.
Oh, I don't know what his name is. Stormtroopers don't tend to have those.
Yeah.
Rainbow Color Warrior. The only thing I like about Last Jedi was the fact that Rey isn't anyone's daughter. Han and Leia would have been ruined by abandoning their daughter with an uncaring guardian.
Everyone
I agree
who's
with
a
that.
girl is someone's daughter, okay?
It would also be, Jason, it would also be really, just hold on, it's no big deal. It would also be really weird to retroactively say that Han and Leia had a daughter that they just weren't talking about during Force Awakens. I was already sort of annoyed about how we kept contriving they're just not saying the name of their son for the sake of the audience until we wanted to make that a big reveal. It would have been awful if they were doing the same thing with having a twin. You could have written it in such a way, I guess, where it would have made sense for them to lose their daughter, or maybe you could even contrive a decent enough reason that they're not talking about her because that's even a worse situation, I guess, but that's sticky and it would look retroactive, especially because they didn't have a plan from the beginning, where it was just, as we've talked about a lot here on the channel, where it was where it was just J.J. Abrams making a movie and then passing it on to the next guy. So, like, if it had always been the plan, like the Luke, I am your father, the big reveal is there was another twin.
Come with me, together we will rule the galaxy.
Then maybe, but it would have had to have been clear that there was a plan from the beginning, that there was some foresight. So anyway, Rainbow Color Warrior, they should have made it clear she's not a Skywalker Solo in The Force Awakens. In fact, show her parents in the first film and just move on from that. Yeah, it's weird that it's left so totally vague about who her parents are in that, and then it's made a big reveal that they're apparently nobody. But the big question I have two big questions, and this is a thing that I meant to talk about in the Last Jedi commentary, which we were posting in a couple of weeks. So just fair warning, we didn't discuss this as much as I had intended to. It just didn't come up. But Dan and I had a private conversation about this, and I have two big questions. And if memory serves, Dan agrees with me, and he also has these questions. One is, how well does Rey remember her parents? And is she kind of an unreliable narrator with that? Because you get the sense that, you know, she loses them and they leave and she trusts them enough to think they're coming back. But I don't even know how much she remembers of them. I don't know what age she was when they left. I have no information. And B, is there any reason to assume that the parents that left her, that according to Last Jedi, sold her off for drug money or drinking money or whatever, are we to assume that that was her biological parents? Like, why would we make that assumption? So, like, she could turn out to still be a Skywalker. I don't want that to be the case, or to be, you know, the daughter of somebody we know. I don't necessarily want that to be the case, but, like, it will feel like retconning if that ends up happening, and yet we don't know enough in the first place. So, it's all real sticky.
Wow.
Rainbow Color Warrior, she seemed to have been 5. She did not remember they were good-for-nothing drunks. Maybe the point was she was in denial. Perhaps, but she doesn't talk about them either. I mean, she just says, like, they're coming back. I know it. And then she does look devastated, but there's no, when she finds that out, but there's no conversation about it. So I don't know if it's supposed to be a denial thing or not. That could be interesting. That's fine. I don't have a problem with it. There's just no discussion about it. But anyway, John Early, should the Flash movie distance itself from the CW series? I mean, it will. It's not going to be connected to that series, I'm sure, but I would do as much of a different thing as possible. And I agree with Dan and other folks that say it should be Wally West or some other Flash, just to immediately, as you say, distance it and make it a different thing. Let's see if we can get some more stuff for Jason
hi, David Crabtree.
To weigh in on.
Yeah, everybody's asking me questions.
John Early found the Flash seasons 1 and 2 at a garage sale, and season 2 still had a salvageable digital copy. That's funny. I'm not sure if digital copies are always such that you can use them forever or if they expire. Because I thought they expired, but so far every digital copy that I've tried to use that I never got around to using has worked. So I guess I'm not sure about that. That was the thing I was just talking with Eric about recently. Kristen Ogden rewatching Arrow to prepare for Crisis on season 3. It isn't painful yet. That means you're not to the big Ra's al Ghul moment. Unless you were more okay with that than I was. Writer, what's the best Lego movie? For me, it's the first one.
Me too.
Yeah.
Or Lego Ninjago movie.
Really? You put Lego Ninjago even over Batman?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
And then Batman, and then
That's
Lego
a
movie
fun movie, but it lost me in the middle. I got kind of bored with it. And then it got fun again at the end. But I think it really kind of sits there.
The Lloyd.
No, I mean that's hilarious. But that was also the trailer. You know. I think some people complain the funniest stuff is in the trailer. I don't know if I agree with that, but. Hayden Spring, you're a madman, Jason. Hayden Spring, Jason, which turtle is the best? Also, this is great. Do you prefer Eric or your father? Can you try to stay in frame, kid?
I was trying to get out of frame.
Yeah, I know. Can you stay in frame?
Yeah.
So, who's your favorite Ninja Turtle?
Raphael.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah? Okay, what is your favorite iteration of Raphael?
2003.
Oh, 3? He's been watching through that with me. You like that show a lot?
Mm-hmm.
Is that your favorite version of the Turtles in general right now, or is it the movie?
Yeah, it's my favorite. Well, here's the thing. Okay.
David, I'm with you. Those are great too.
Second
the direct-to-video
favorite
Lego
is
Batman
Mikey.
and Justice League movies. Your second favorite is Mikey?
I mean, partly it's because of my brother, but...
We seriously considered renaming or giving Mikey a different middle name because we didn't think of this until after my wife came up with this. My third son's name is Michael Logan Williamson. We gave him my middle name, and of course that's where Captain Logan comes from. And but Sarah, because we instead of Michael, we call him Mikey. And a couple months after he was born, Sarah was like, "Oh man, we're so dumb. You know what we should have done? We should have named him Michael Angelo. Angelo should have been his middle name, and it would cost like $500 to change it, but we have kicked it around."
Does he have any favorite dance movies? Yes, and it is Grease.
David Crabtree, hey Cap, do you use that bat ring to brand criminals at Arkham? No, I'm not that far gone yet. But I'm sure when I'm in my 50s, I'll be a raging alcoholic and I'll start branding criminals, and then I'll murder people off screen, or I'll murder people with my Batmobile and hope nobody notices, especially my butler.
I like Dad better than Eric.
You like, but yes, that would be an okay branding. I guess this one would brand better because it's indented. See, but that's kind of dark for the show with my kid here. He doesn't seem to be paying any attention to what I was saying though, so it's not a big deal.
Dark? What's
Yeah.
dark?
I'm not even going to tell you that because you weren't paying attention.
Oh.
I talked about horrifying things I could do.
Yeah, I know. You can do it with your ring, and you can like zap criminals and stuff.
That's not what branding is. I'm not zapping anyone.
Oh, like the cross in Buffy.
Caleb Richardson, hey Cap, favorite iteration of Batman/Superman. Putting those two characters together.
BVS.
No, it's certainly not BVS. I mean, obviously I like The World's Finest movie a lot, but there's places in the comics where I've liked them more, and I'm having a hard time immediately pinpointing my favorite where we put them together. Yeah, just right off the top of my head. I'm having a hard time thinking of like particular writers that have done that way better than other ones.
Separately.
Oh, separately. I mean, I gotcha. Okay, yeah, that's a little bit easier. My favorite Batman overall is still the animated series. Followed closely by Nightfall, No Man's Land, that period in the comics.
89.
I mean, I like 89 a lot, but it's not my favorite characterization of the character, certainly.
Oh.
And then my favorite.
I like the Batman.
And then favorite iteration of Superman. I mean, as everybody knows, I really like Death of Superman. So that period in the comics also, like I didn't care about Superman until he died. So like the 90s, like what we were doing circa 91 to 93, is kind of the reason I got into comics in the first place. So it's hard not to say that that's my favorite. But on screen, it's certainly Christopher Reeve. Hey, look, it's DJ. Jason gets really excited about things. Sometimes Jason will do that at a store. He'll pick something up and he'll go, and then he'll go, "What is that?" Like he just gets really excited about a thing and he has no idea what it is. It's fantastic. Did we buy any other cool things today? You made me buy a really tacky shirt.
Can I grab it?
No, it's out in the car. Yeah, we didn't bring it in, but I'll wear it at some point on camera. It's goofy.
Yeah,
It's a Hawaiian shirt with a T-Rex all over it with sunglasses. It's the worst thing.
And
it's horrible.
And the flower, the dinosaur flowers.
Yeah, there's flowers all over it,
With
and then
dinosaurs in them.
And then it's got a shirt pocket, but the pocket like goes over one of the dinosaurs' heads. Like it's a horrible pattern. It's great. Benjamin Fenty, how's your summer? Really good, almost over. Jason's about to start doing dance and going part-time back to school. Jason homeschools most of the time, and then also goes part-time. You still like the whole homeschool thing?
Uh-huh.
Why don't you talk about that a little bit? Because I get questions about it all the time. What's the homeschool thing like? Like what kinds of...
It's awesome.
Yeah?
That's what it is.
Yeah, but like talk more substantially. Like
I like being able to like
kind of go at your own pace.
That's not in like school.
Yeah, what kind of subjects do you do we have you doing that you wouldn't get if you were going to another school?
Greek,
probably.
Latin, and memory work with poems instead of Bible verses.
Yeah, because the school that you go to part time is a Christian school, right? That's kind of what's available, and what's around. But yeah, with Greek and Latin, Jason is studying like not the whole Greek language. I think just Greek letters and the alphabet. Yeah, and then Latin though you're going full-fledged the language. Yeah. Down the road, what language would you most like to study that's not a dead language, like a language you could actually speak with people? Would it be Spanish or German or?
It's not Latin.
That's not Latin. Yeah, like I said, because Latin's not a
Japanese.
Oh, that's right. And you started learning some Japanese at one point, didn't you?
Yeah.
Can you say anything right now in Japanese? Can you stay in frame when you're trying to think of something to say?
I can't think.
You can't think?
Yeah, because it's been like 3 months and I just want to punch myself.
And well, don't do that. 3 months when you're Jason's age is like a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I tell them about the key from the thing?
Blue Dragon film. Oh, Cap, you need to teach your kids Esperanto. I could tell that was going nowhere fast. That's a Tick reference. In an episode called The Tick versus the Big Nothing, where there's, believe it or not, an Esperanto reference. Let's see. Blue Dragon 5, Jason should be Star-Lord for Halloween. He's done it.
I have done it.
Yeah, you still have that Star-Lord costume? It's probably too small for you now.
Yeah.
But you can probably wear the mask.
Yeah.
The Shinigami-zan. Hey, Cap, glad I was able to catch this stream from my home state. Oh, are you in Arkansas? Whereabouts? Let me know. Where are you? I grew up partly in Arkansas. I was originally born in this state, and I was born in a little town called Dardanelle, which was right outside of Russellville, where my dad grew up, and we lived in Russellville when my parents were still together. And then my dad got transferred. He used to work for a steakhouse chain called Bonanza, which is no longer around anymore.
Bonanza?
Yeah, it was called Bonanza.
Bonanza.
Later, hilariously bought up. Just set up here. Later, hilariously bought up by Ponderosa. which was another. Which was also a TV show, a Western TV show of a similar ilk, and both of them were kind of Western themed restaurants. And then Dad transferred in order to try to save a store in Lawrence, Kansas that was dying, and that's how I went up in Kansas. I was around 6 at the time, and then my parents actually divorced shortly thereafter, and I lived in Lawrence for a while, and then moved back to Arkansas. Yeah, and then moved back with Dad in Arkansas for about 3 years when I was 10. So I've oscillated back and forth between here and Kansas. And I try to get back here as much as I can. My brother's here. Dennis and I have seen each other more this year than we have in 5 years. I hadn't been down here since 64 Galore in 2014. And that was the last time I saw him. And this year I've seen him 3 times, or I've seen him twice, and I will see him a 3rd time here on Saturday. So I'm excited about that. And Dennis is one of the only main members of my family that's not been on the channel. So maybe at some point we can try to remedy that. But anyway, just a little history about me and Arkansas. I miss it down here. It's everybody is so friendly, and it's there's a lot of really great countryside, and just nostalgic because this is where I'm from. And yeah, so try to get down here whenever I can. Mr. Weeping Dalek, is Dennis going to be on the channel? Hopefully at some point, yeah. Benjamin Fenty, hey Jason, nice shirt.
What shirt is it? Oh, yeah.
I do that all the time. Jason, I'll be out in public and somebody will be like, hey, that's a great shirt. And I always have to look down. I never remember what I'm wearing.
Yeah, I have Mario shirt of Mario, Luigi, Yoshi, Toad.
You're getting kind of silly, man.
Okay.
So, today I'm wearing my Jason versus Freddy shirt, my very graphic and bloody pop Jason and Freddy shirt. This is, of course, bloody. Franchises I'm not real big into. I'm not a huge horror person. I now have watched all the Freddy movies, much to my brain's chagrin, but my kids are all not named after slashers, but wound up that way, and then as I mean, I've told this story before, but we started with Jason, and then Freddy happened sort of on accident because that's the name of Sarah's great uncle, and then we went, well, we're stuck with it now, so we got to keep going. So then Mikey, we decided to name, of course, because of Michael Myers. And so I have shirts like this now because it represents my children, and it's hilarious.
Every 13th that is a Friday is partly my birthday.
David Crabtree, how's the Superhero Rewind booth going? It's going okay. Lean months in the summer, so we're just trying to get through this, and we'll be in better shape after back to school. But it's looking great. We get a lot of great compliments on it. It hasn't been doing financially as well as it was the last couple of, the last, I don't know, month or so. But once we pull out of August, we should be in pretty good shape again. And I recently bought out another big collection of about 3,000, and I've been putting that stuff in slowly but surely. Caleb Richardson, my personal favorite Batman is Batman Beyond, and my favorite Superman is Smallville Tom Welling. It's interesting. That show certainly has my favorite Lex Luthor. Hayden Spring wanted to know if I did the horror naming thing on purpose. I actually just explained that, so I'm glad that you asked that question. Blue Dragon 5, I love World's Finest by Cap. Tom King's Batman Superman issues are great. That's true. I guess that is my favorite now because I keep... Thanks for mentioning that, because I keep ranting and raving about the double date issue. It's one of my favorite issues in Batman ever at this point. It's absolutely fantastic. Kristen Ogden with Renee Montoya and Birds of Prey. I forgot they were doing that. Any chance the question could be on the way? I think that character works best on TV, but would still be cool. I agree with everything that you just said. I think that is very possible. And I think if she ends up being a fan favorite character in that movie, they could spin her off most assuredly. But I also think all of those ladies are spin-offable, so I don't know if that would end up being the first choice, but very possibly. I mean, I could also see a Black Canary movie, and I could see a Huntress movie, and I could even see a Cassandra Cain movie. So anything is possible, certainly. Blue Dragon 5 says this should be my Father's Day shirt. It should. It should. I'll start making sure I do that.
Well, Mom already has her Mother's Day shirt.
That's true. She also has a slasher character shirt that says, what does it say? Just a woman
who loves, just a woman, yeah, a woman who loves, yeah, just a woman who loves
Jason, Freddy, and Michael.
Freddy, yeah.
And then it has their pictures on it. Hayden Spring, if you have a daughter, what will the name be? We had planned on Carrie Elizabeth. Elizabeth, just a name that we liked, that we thought went well with that for the middle name. Carrie, of course, is one of, if not the most recognizable, like, horror bad guy girl names. Not a slasher, but close enough. And I also have a step-grandmother named Carrie, who I'm very close to, and so I end up, if we have a girl, finally, getting to do that, just like my wife did with her great-uncle Freddy. Sarah and I are on the fence about whether or not we're going to have a fourth child, but we've been talking about it, and it could very well happen. Blue Dragon 5 could give her Kelly as a middle name. Kelly's not bad. That's not bad. Blue Dragon, or Blue Hawk Film, is Jason's part-time school a private school? It is. It is a private school, not a public school. Yes, indeed.
Can I tell them about the key?
You can tell them anything you want to. Yeah.
So, the key for the
Airbnb.
Airbnb.
Yeah.
Is Yoda.
Isn't that cool?
Yoda on the front, Yoda on the back with his lightsaber.
So I haven't gotten anybody else in the family that's putting us up here
Spain.
Tonight. Did she just say Bane?
Yeah, it says Spain.
Oh, I'm Spain. I claim this for Spain. Anyway, I'm pretty sure we're dealing with geeks here, though. They've got this key with Yoda on it, and then next to us is a poster for the Old Timers Day Steampunk Festival. Look at a Steampunk Festival. These are the only clues I have of the nerdiness going on in the house that we're staying in a room in the back of, but as far as I can tell, they're maybe kind of nerdy, and I've only briefly spoken to the lady here.
I'll be right back.
Okay, we'll see you later, buddy. But but she's super nice. She's great, and immediately commented on my voice and asked if I was in radio. Lucas Green, £5 super chat. Hey Cap, thanks for that, by the way. Hey Cap, what one person would you say on our Earth, not fictional Earth, could lift Thor's hammer? Wow, that's really interesting. Living today, it's very difficult to say. Maybe Tom Hanks. I don't know. Just trying to think of, like, people who seem real upstanding, and, like, you know, benevolent, and their heart's in the right place, and all of that. Yeah, it's hard to say, because the first person that comes to mind, of course, is Fred Rogers, who not a lot of people could find a lot of fault with, and who did a lot of good things for children and others. So that would be the first thing I would say if he were still living. But I'd love to see what ideas other people have in the comments, just of, like, really great people who are living right now, and because I'm trying to think of humanitarians. Not a whole lot of people are immediately coming to mind of, like who has most recently, I'm just not in the loop on this, like, who most recently has won, like, the Nobel Peace Prize and things like that. Yeah, Morgan Freeman, I don't know, Keanu Reeves, maybe. But besides, like famous entertainers, you know, who is, like, a great humanitarian that not a lot of fault has been found with, that we don't know of any, like, seedy, underhanded things, or just, like, you know, mean-spirited things a person has done. Honestly, not a lot of people immediately coming to mind, which is kind of cynical, but is just not coming to me right away. Hawk Flame, Malala Yousafzai is probably the best candidate. I'm not sure who that is. And maybe that makes me a terrible person, but I don't immediately know who that is. Blue Dragon 5, Reeves does a lot of charity work and is a swell guy from what I hear. I hear that too. You never know about people, and again, either direction, and that's not me being you know, negative or anything, but you're just realistic. You just can't know. Rainbow Color Warrior. Oh, you know what? I shouldn't read that out loud, so I'm not gonna. But anyway, okay. So the girl who survived being shot on a bus and an emissary of peace. I will look that up. That is. Oh, you know what? Now that you say that, was she interviewed by David Letterman on his Netflix show? Is that who that is, or am I thinking of somebody else? That is not a person that I am familiar with, but that is a name that is ringing a bell now that you say that. Blue Hawk Film, hey Cap, I'm curious to know, if you hear a lot of British news over there. Not really, no. Obviously, the week of Brexit, you couldn't get away from that, but other than that, not a ton. You'll hear about the royal family, and you'll hear about major political landscape things that may or may not affect us. But I'm sure there's all kinds of internal stuff there that just does not make major headlines here. Blue Dragon 5, she has a documentary. Okay, I'll take a look. I'll definitely watch that. Jason, why don't I give you the floor? What kinds of things would you like to talk about, man? As we're just waiting for some more questions to come in, because you haven't been with us in a long time. So
I think there's a question for me.
Something that I missed?
Yeah.
Is it way far up?
Yeah, there was a super chat.
I already answered that while
you did?
While you were in there, yep.
Oh.
Yep, I was talking about that for a while. Ben Lutz asked Jason if his school teaches them about dinosaurs or not. You ever learned about dinosaurs in school?
No.
Have you learned about dinosaurs in anything we've done at home yet? You haven't had a ton of science. And I think you're going to have a major science curriculum coming up soon. You've done some experiments and things, but you haven't had like a steady science curriculum yet.
I'm doing almost every night. I'm reading a book. There's a book that me and Freddy are doing at home.
Oh, that dinosaur book that I bought you guys, the big fat one.
No, it's a biology book.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, and yeah, there might be some dinosaur stuff in that. Lucas Green, £2 super chat. Thank you very much. Next big bad for MCU, Dr. Doom or Galactus? My money is on Doom, but I think both are likely in close proximity. I could see a Dr. Doom movie being announced, and like a solo Dr. Doom movie being announced for Phase 5, because there was so much talk about Fox. I mean, Fox had one in development. And there's been some talk lately that project or one very similar to it could still be on the table. My instincts say Doom before Galactus. Obviously, I love Galactus. I also love Doom. So I don't really care which one comes first necessarily, but I want both of those things. But I think it's safe to say that once we start getting FF and X-Men off hiatus and back on the table, we're going to see both of those within two or 3 years of each other. That's what I think. Blue Dragon 5, Cap, seriously, even if you haven't seen all the movies, check out the extensive documentaries Never Sleep Again and Camp Crystal Lake Memories. I've heard good things about those, and I will take a look. Thanks for mentioning that. Hayden Spring, Jason, are you familiar with the Palpatine memes? I wouldn't think you would be.
No, I don't watch a lot of memes.
You don't look at a lot of memes? Yeah. You know what memes are?
I know what memes are.
Well, you said watch, so.
Yeah, watch.
Well, usually a meme is just like a picture with a caption.
Yeah, but they can also be like videos.
They can be GIFs and things, but not videos usually.
I've seen some.
Are we calling those memes? If it's in video, are we calling those memes?
Yeah.
Hayden Spring, Jason, how's your luck with the ladies? Jason hangs out with girls a lot.
A lot. Yeah.
I guess.
We have a trio. Me, my two friends Grace and Rio.
One of his best friends' name is Rio. Isn't that the coolest name? Her name is Rio.
Yeah, and anyway, we are like the cat trio. The
cat trio?
Yeah, we always like go around the school acting like a cat.
Ryder says video memes are a thing. See, this is how out of touch I am.
Yeah, man. I know more than he does, and I don't even watch memes or whatever memes.
Shinigami Zan, do you have any experience playing any tabletop RPGs? I'm listening to this as I plan for a Star Wars one. Very, very little on my end. You've not done anything like that yet, have you? Anything? A tabletop RPG, like a Dungeons and Dragons type game.
Ooh,
I don't think you've done anything like that yet. That seems way more up your alley than mine. I bet eventually you'll want to start doing stuff like that.
I love RPGs in video games. I love Pokemon. I love Final Fantasy.
But you also like board games a lot.
Yeah, I love board games.
But yeah, I ran a couple of games of of an old game called Toon, which was real simple and loose rules and very much my speed, which was kind of a parody of like Warner Brothers cartoons and just cartoon physics in general. And so you you can't die in that game because you're cartoon, so like you can fall off a cliff and go splat, but you do have to roll for things. And I did that a couple times, but I haven't. I've never like played a game that I wasn't running, and I've never done anything more serious and more complex than that.
Instead of them asking me questions or you,
Yeah.
can I ask them a question?
Well, that's not a bad idea. Sure. Yeah. Why don't we tackle a couple other things that are here? And then that would be fun. We'll do a little bit of that. Yeah, can you believe we've already been broadcasting for 45 minutes? I don't know what that's about.
What?
Hawk Flame, is Rio's last name Grande? Shimigami Zan says, I've seen some videos on
her last name
Toon.
is actually kind of funny.
Part of the reason... Oh, what is it?
It's Horn.
Okay. One of the reasons that I played Toon was because my uncle had already made a lot of character pages for pre-existing characters that I liked a lot. So I ran a Powerpuff Girl crossover with the Tick, and we had so I made Powerpuff Girl characters, but he already had a bunch of Tick characters made, and that was a lot of fun. He used to go to conventions and run Toon specifically for the Tick back when the cartoon show was on, and it was relatively popular. Hayden Spring, Jason, what's your favorite Pokemon?
Incineroar.
Say it again.
Incineroar.
Oh, really? That was cool.
I love Incineroar. He was actually, Litten was my first Pokemon ever. Like, in anything. Or at least in any video
What's the first video game you played for Pokemon?
Pokemon Moon.
Moon? Bye, Mr. Roboto. Thanks for popping in, man. Just making a quick hour-long silly show here. Rainbow Color Warrior, have you and Eric watched more of Young Justice Outsiders? I have not. I don't think Eric's come back to it either. Eric and I haven't been watching as much together lately because we're both so busy with other things separately. So our time together these days is real precious. So we pretty much make videos and occasionally watch Star Trek, but that's about all we've been doing lately. That's amazing. Hayden Spring, my best friend's middle name is Danger. Not a joke. Danger. I want his first name to be Danger and his middle name Will and his last name Robinson.
My mom's friend in high school.
Luke Skywalker. His middle name was Sky, and everybody just knew him as Luke Walker. This is a true story. Everybody knew him as Luke Walker and never put it together, never thought about it all through high school. And then when they went through graduation and his name was called, as always, all three names were called. And so it was, apparently, the lady at the podium who called his name was real nonchalant about it and just said, Luke Skywalker, and everybody lost their minds. It's pretty great. It's a good story. I'm glad you brought that up. It's a good story. Got a name whose middle name is Blaze, says Shimigami's on. That's a boss middle name. It's amazing. Blue Dragonfly, that's awesome. And you couldn't give Michael Angelo? We didn't think of it in time, or we totally would have. I don't think she's even joking. I think she wanted to do that. But we'd have to retroactively change it, and he was getting Logan, and that's kind of fun where one of my kids gets Logan, and so I kind of don't want him to lose that, but at the same time, Angelo's amazing. Jason, let me answer this before you start asking some questions, buddy. 559 OERS, Cap. Hi. What would you have done with the Matrix sequels were you in charge? Boy, that's a really good question. I would have done my level best to stick to the rules as they were established, and if I thought it was impossible to tell a story with Neo as powerful as he was at the end of The Matrix, I would have tried to have the integrity and not make them. Obviously, it's business, and those were popular, and so I can't expect that. But if it were me and I was in charge and had the keys to the kingdom, I would have said, yeah, we can't make this movie if we have to retcon things with a throwaway line of dialogue at the beginning of our sequel of Reloaded and say upgrades, and now Neo's not as powerful as he was. I get having to come up with a way for Neo to still have some challenge in what he's doing. Obviously, you gotta have conflict, but he basically was supposed to have the ability to like remake the Matrix, essentially, and or at the very least, he could he could see code, he could mess with code, and in that at the beginning of the next movie, yeah, he's still seeing code, but like he can fly, and that's about it. Like he doesn't have anything like the ability and the he doesn't seem as connected to the Matrix as he was supposed to be, and that immediately starts messing up everything. And then the other big thing I would have done would have been to go to the natural place with 3, even if 2 was exactly the way it was. And I enjoy Reloaded a lot. It's not a good movie, but it's fun. If it's trash, it's fun trash. The thing about the end of 2, though, is that it seemed really, really clear, and this would have been interesting, that where we were going was a Matrix inside of a Matrix. When Neo is in the real world and able to stop robots by just putting his hands up and thinking about it, it really seemed like we were inside of a Matrix within a Matrix, and when we didn't go that way, it just seemed so much more lame than what it could have been. And that's not me saying it should have done the cool thing that came to my mind. It just seemed really clear that was the direction we were going. And there wasn't a great explanation for why he was able to do that. I'm not going to go as far as to say that that was retconning, but it kind of felt like it. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know that The Matrix entirely warranted sequels, but at the same time, you could have done them better than we did, most essentially. Most certainly. Lucas Green, £5 super chat. Hey, Cap, how would you do with a day with Ian Malcolm from the Jurassic Park franchise? I know there would be a lot of erms from both sides. Oh yes, absolutely. No, that's true. I would feel more comfortable with my most assuredly. Yes, I would. But no, I would love to talk to Ian Malcolm. It's funny because if I got in a debate with Ian Malcolm or in a conversation with Ian Malcolm, I'm curious to know how it would go, because I agree with him, but only to a certain point in his... Let's not touch that right now, okay? I agree with him, but only to a certain point with his feelings about playing God and why it was wrong for Hammond to bring back the dinosaurs. Like, I think it was bad for Hammond to do it for the very reasons that Malcolm says, because he and his scientists didn't come up with the technology themselves, and they didn't respect it, and therefore it was easy for them to not appreciate it and abuse it. But I don't know if it would inherently be like against the universe, against nature, to do that if you did it with your heart in the right place and like seeing yourself as part of nature as opposed to over it, because there are all kinds of things that we do, particularly in medicine and to prolong our own lives and to make our lives easier, that we would have 200 years ago, 500 years ago, even 50 years ago in some cases, said is playing God and too against the laws of nature. So I only meet him part way with that, and that would be a really fun debate to have. Okay, Jason, why don't you ask these guys some questions?
All right, so, what is your favorite, like, spaceship shooter video game?
Ooh, that's a good question. Favorite shooter video game. So you guys start throwing those out, and then Jason will talk about his favorite, and I'll try to throw one out, and then we'll read what everybody says. We'll see if I say what you think I'm going to say. Go ahead.
Okay, so mine is
Silver
Xanac.
Surfer. Silver Surfer on NES. No?
No.
That's not your favorite shooter?
Xanac.
What is Xanag?
It's a game.
It sounds like depression medication.
It's a game on the NES that
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. I haven't played it in a while.
But it's your favorite.
You're shooting. You're you're going around and you're shooting, and it's actually really hard. You're basically shooting like bombs and stuff, and you collect a bunch of stuff, and yeah.
Is it like top down, or is it side scrolling?
It's down top.
Down top?
Yeah.
Okay. The only answer you've gotten so far is from Nightwatch Gaming, who says the original Rogue Squadron on N64, which is great. I would love to see a remaster of that.
And Hayden Spring.
Well, he's making a joke about Xanax. John Ty threw out mine. He says Star Fox, particularly Star Fox 64.
Wait, that's yours?
Yeah.
Oh,
What do you
I
think I was
thought
gonna
yours
say?
would be Galaga.
Okay. Star Fox is my second. Yes, of course. Of course it's Galaga, yeah. I was thinking slightly more modern than that. Yes, of course. No, you're right. My favorite space shooter is Galaga. Duh. Yeah. Okay, why don't you ask these guys
Second
another
favorite
question?
is Space Invaders.
Oh, okay. Nightwatch Gaming, I would love a remake, but the closest we've gotten is Battlefront 2 Spaceship Mode, which I've not played yet. I need to do that at some point. And you love the original Battlefront, so we'll have to get that at some point. We just haven't gotten around to it.
The original what?
Battlefront.
Battlefront PS2 or Battlefront
I'm sorry.
PS4?
By original, I mean the original modern.
The original bond.
Yeah, PS4.
Okay. PS4.
But yeah, Battlefront 2 had a campaign this time, and I don't know how the couch co-op is, but maybe, as cheap as that is now, it's like $15-20 everywhere. It's probably worth getting. I haven't had the time to do online gaming, nor am I any good at it at all. And I don't know if that even still has much of a community. So I didn't bother with it because of that. But Nightwatch says that it's a boring campaign, so that's unfortunate. Hayden Spring, I don't play a lot of space shooters, but Battlefront 2 from 05 is awesome. Like I said, I like that a lot too. Cycle Reviewer, I like your hats. 10 out of 10 stream. Thank you very much. Dwan, have you played any Metal Gear games? I have not. One night, there was sort of a goal. This was a couple years ago. To get me to play a Metal Gear game, because that's the thing that Eric's really into, and people wanted us to talk about it, but I don't know anything about Metal Gear, and some folks were trying to donate a certain dollar amount to get us to do that, and we didn't reach it, and I have still never bothered with one, so I don't know. Maybe someday.
Maybe Metal Gear Solid, because I love Snake.
So I love this. Mr. Man. That's the handle. Mr. Man, hi, I am your new subscriber. Not I am a new subscriber, I'm your new subscriber. Welcome, Mr. Man. Thanks very much. Appreciate you, buddy. He is our new subscriber for the month. We have one subscriber every month, and he is our new subscriber. Thanks so much. Mr. Man, good to meet you. Thanks for being here. Hope you're enjoying the stream. What else? Cycle Reviewer, I prefer turtles. To what? What are we talking about? Nightwatch Gaming. Cap, I know someone's asked before, but have you thought about buying Ultimate Alliance just to play as Thanos? I didn't know you could play as Thanos. I actually did buy Ultimate Alliance. Jason and I just started playing it the other day, and I like what I've played of it, although that first boss is monotonous, and we've not gotten past it yet. So, that Sandman boss? Yeah, it's driving us crazy.
Got mad.
We'll get back to it. We didn't bring our Switch with us, so we'd be playing it tonight, but Freddy would attack us in our sleep if we took the Switch from him for 4 days, so we couldn't do that. Lucas Green, £5 super chat. Hey Jason, if you okay, so this is a thing that we've been doing the last couple weeks. I don't know if it was Lucas Green every time, but me and Dan and DJ have now all answered this question, and now you, sir, get the distinction of being one of the 4 of us that have done this. Hopefully, eventually, there are 6 of us that have done this. Hey, Jason, if you created the Sinister Six from Spidey's villains, which members would you pick? What 6 villains would you put in a Sinister Six team? Go.
Oh, man.
Do it as fast as you can.
Man. I'm not going to be able to.
Do it as fast as you can.
Venom.
Venom. Gotta get him.
Yeah.
Jason. You're being silly. Venom. He's washing linens. You gotta get him. Hayden Spring, is Jason allowed to read or watch Watchmen? No, not yet. Not until he's a teenager.
Magneto?
I mean, it's supposed to be Spider-Man villains, but I guess you could...
Magneto is a Spider-Man villain.
Not generally speaking.
Well, he was in Far From Home, okay?
Magneto? No, he wasn't.
Mysterio.
Mysterio. Okay, so Venom and Mysterio. Keep going. Onslaught? Onslaught's a Spider-Man villain. Can I use Onslaught? Okay, can you come up with 4 more real quick? As quick as you can. Blue Dragon 5. Let's see. Cap, Jason, Dan, DJ, Eric, and Brandon, or the Jeff, I guess. You have your 6 people to ask. Oh yeah, we can come up with some more people. Try to get Sarah in on this.
I'm trying to think. Cause
She'll just pick symbiotes. You can't come up with enough Spider-Man villains? You're gonna need help here pretty soon. I watch gaming. Magneto is my favorite Spider-Man villain. Hayden Spring, Venom, Carnage, Hobgoblin, Green Goblin, Hydra Man, Sandman. I like pairs of enemies. That's my team. Yeah, that's good. That's pretty good.
Carnage, of course.
Carnage, yeah. Hayden Spring, is he allowed to read any Carnage? Also Killing Joke. I'd let him read some of the 90s Carnage stuff. Not Killing Joke yet, though. He's not ready for some of that stuff yet.
I'm trying to think. Probably Sandman.
There's some ideas in some of those books that I'm not sure is the way to introduce your kids to them, and you would probably want to wait until a certain age.
I need some help because I don't know any.
You just don't know enough Spider-Man villains?
Oh, what was that obscure one that you got a figure of?
Doppelganger?
No.
You gonna make Doppelganger part of the Sinister Six? It's like he's got 6 arms, so he's on the Sinister Six.
No.
No, I don't know.
I don't remember.
I'm not sure.
I don't remember.
Big wheel. Okay, so what we're learning is Jason needs to read or watch more Spider-Man.
The lizard.
The lizard? Yeah, that's good. Okay, so you got Venom, Carnage, Mysterio, the lizard. You need 2 more. You need 2 more. I'm trying not to help you too much. I'm trying to see who you can get. Hemoglobin. My next villain is Hemoglobin. So Hobgoblin. And then 1 more. 1 more. I also love symbiotes.
Dr. Doom?
I don't care what anybody says. Dr. Doom is not generally a Spider-Man villain, but you can have him. You can do it. That's cool. Dr. Doom shows up in the 5th or 6th issue of Spider-Man.
Okay.
In Stan Lee's run. You can have Dr. Doom. It's cool. You can have him.
Yeah.
You can have him. He's at Disney now. Fox owns him again. I mean, sorry. Disney owns Fox and Disney has him now, so Marvel owns him again. So yeah, you can totally do that. We're past an hour, but if there's another question you want to ask everybody, you can go ahead and do that. You said you wanted to do some of those.
Oh yeah.
And you did 1. Let's see if we can do 1 or 2 more.
What are you guys' favorite MCU movie?
Your favorite MCU movie. Jason has been watching through the MCU movies. Mm-hmm. He didn't remember hardly anything from phase 1 and 2.
Nothing from
So, he's been watching back. We've been watching 1 every day. We're gonna have to skip some days this weekend because we're out of town, but we'll catch back up on it when we get back. So we just watched up to Winter Soldier. Mm-hmm. What is your favorite MCU movie up through Winter Soldier? So keep in mind, Jason knows some of the more recent ones, and he could say that for his favorite. I'll let him do a favorite overall in a second, but I just want to know which one he's enjoyed in this succession as we are just now getting past phase 1.
Either Avengers or Winter Soldier.
Did you like Winter Soldier?
I loved Winter Soldier.
I mean, it's still
Winter
my favorite.
Soldier is my second favorite. And when I'm done with all the Marvel movies, I'm going to rank the Infinity Saga.
Oh, cool. Marvel, the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
The Marvel Cinematic Universe.
And all it is every movie is.
Psycho Reviewer says the ideal Sinister Six was Mysterio, Vulture, Big Wheel, the Living Brain, the Tinkerer, and the Spot. I put 2 of those on mine, I think. Unless Mysterio wasn't on mine, I can't remember. Okay. Dwan says Civil War. David Crabtree says Avengers. John Ty says Winter Soldier. Psycho Reviewer says Winter Soldier is the correct answer. That's hilarious. I also think that. David Crabtree, first Avengers. I thought you... Oh, favorite solo movie. Oh, I see. Okay. Blue Dragon 5. Winter Soldier is the correct answer, Jason. Congratulations. Blue Dragon 5. I'm sorry. Blue Hawk film. Captain Britain. That's not an MCU movie yet. Notice I said yet. Hot Flame. That's... Civil War is my favorite. Is a minor miracle given the comic version is hot garbage. It is. It's true.
What the heck is Captain Britain?
Yeah, Captain Britain's a Marvel character. And I think Blue Hawk Film is a Brit, so he likes British things. 5590ERS, the first Iron Man movie. Blue Hawk Film says, I can dream. Mr. Man, who is the first Avenger? Captain America. Or Captain Marvel now, depending on who you ask and how you feel.
No. Iron Man.
No, because Captain America's first movie is called The First Avenger.
Yeah, but
And
it was Iron Man because remember, have you seen the after credit scene? Yes, you have. But have you?
Do you just mean in that, like, he seems to sign up first?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, that's fair. But then they decide they don't even want him. And then...
Yeah, but like... It's Iron Man, okay.
David Crabtree, yeah, he loves Winter Soldier now, but wait until Jason finds out why Nick Fury stopped trusting people. Well, he did. He saw that. I mean, you've seen Captain Marvel. So, do you remember in Winter Soldier how we make a big deal, especially symbolically, about the eye patch?
Yeah.
And how it's all about Nick Fury not living life with both eyes open, and then you get to the end of the movie and he burns his eye patch, which I still say he should never have had again. He should have done something else. Maybe wore the sunglasses, maybe just had that open, whatever. He never should have had the eye patch again. And it's talked about in Winter Soldier like somebody he deeply trusted went against him, and that had something to do with how he lost his eye, and that his more cynical view of the world, his more distrusting way of looking at things, had something to do with losing his eye. And then we get to Captain Marvel, and spoiler alert for Captain Marvel, do you remember how he ends up losing his eye in the past? A friggin' cat scratched it! And that's all it was, just a cat scratched it! Oh no! It's...
Oh no, he can't trust
right?
cat!
Yeah. Oh, he's got trust issues now, a cat scratched him. I hate it so much. I hate it so much. It drives me insane. There are things I like about that movie, but it... Yeah, okay, I know. It was an alien posing as a cat, but still. Night Watch Gaming, I love how angry this makes Cap. It does, because it really lessens the impact of Winter Soldier, and it's so prequelitis-y, and it's so retcon-y, and he feels like a completely different character.
And I hate the cat because it's not a cat, and
it should have been a cat? You think it should have actually been a cat?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Anyway, okay. So, do you want to ask one more question? You have some cool questions. Why don't you do one more?
Okay.
Can you? And then we'll
everything that
maybe
is
call
a
it a night after
cat
that.
is not a cat again.
You gonna ask a question?
Yeah.
What are you gonna ask? So you need a video game question, you need a Marvel question.
Oh, well, that's basically just gonna be the movie question.
Right. You need a movie question. Yep. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry. Real quick before we move on, I didn't ask you what your favorite MCU movie is overall, though.
Overall.
Yeah. Like, is it still Avengers, or
No.
is there one more recent that trumps it? Because you got Endgame.
I love Endgame.
You loved Endgame.
Except I don't get.
Everybody has an except with Endgame, it seems like. Even people that really love it. And, like, I really, really enjoyed Endgame. I've got 6 billion problems with it, but I can't say I don't like it. What's your issue with Endgame?
Well, that I don't get. Spoiler alert. I don't get why Captain America got old. Why did he do that?
Well, because he went back in time and lived the life he always wanted to with Peggy Carter.
Yeah.
The real question is, how did he do that and stay in the same timeline? Because you're not supposed to be able to monkey with, to change anything in the timeline you go back to, which either means that you're spinning off into a different timeline, or that when you leave, none of that actually happened.
That means that...
That's the real question. It just doesn't actually make any sense.
That means that, Gamora would have remembered...
No.
Or not Gamora, Star-Lord would have remembered, like, getting shot.
I'm not sure what you mean by that.
When they went back in time
Mm-hmm.
in the opening and they shot him.
Yeah, if the timeline still held. Yeah, it seems like Captain America didn't actually affect anything in his timeline, but he still got to do all that stuff, and he still got to stay in the same timeline at the end, and it just doesn't track with the rules they gave us. Mr. Man just said Cap a whole bunch of times. That's my name, man. Don't wear it out. Yeah, and then he said as. And I'm not real sure why. And he said dude. And I'm just a little bit confused. Okay, throw in a question, man. Let's do one more of those.
Oh, yeah.
For everybody.
What is your favorite...
Go ahead.
What is your favorite record?
Oh,
like
that's
any
cool.
record at all.
He means album. So
No, not album, like record. Like any, like, record.
Okay, but let's expand it to albums, though, because you're going to have a lot of people who have just never used a vinyl record, okay? But you're talking about music, right?
Yes.
I wanted to talk about that, too. So while you guys are writing this down, why don't we mention this, because we haven't talked about this yet. Jason loves music all across the board, just the music of all kinds.
That's because I'm a dancer.
Mm-hmm. And Jason is, well, and you're learning some stuff. You've been learning piano. You're going to go into band this year. You're hoping to play the trumpet.
Yep.
But, so, like, Jason likes jazz. He likes hip-hop, but he especially likes rock. And so Jason and I decided, both for his education and my own, because I've never done this, to find a list of top rock records of all time, of classic rock, I guess, and go through them all. And so we found a list that is that was compiled by a lot of people years ago. That's pretty prominent on the internet. I forget what the website is, but it's like 107. There were people that got together, came up with a consensus. Here are the 107 greatest classic rock albums of all time, and we started that today. And Jason decided to start at the top instead of the bottom, so we started with number 1, which of course was Dark Side of the Moon, and we listened to.
That was amazing.
Yeah, Jason loved it, and we started listening to that today, and we've already listened to 9 records because we had a 7-hour trip. So what things were on that, Jason? What have we listened to so far?
The Beatles.
Do you remember some of it?
2 of the Beatles albums. The first one was Them Walking. The second one I don't really remember.
Them Walking?
Yeah.
So we listened to Dark Side of the Moon, and then their list, and obviously this is not arbitrary, but up to people's opinions. But number 1 was Dark Side of the Moon, Pink Floyd, and then we listened to Led Zeppelin 4, which you loved a lot. And then we listened to the Who's album, Who's Next, which you weren't a big fan of.
Yeah. So first off, their music is kind of weird. Second off, when is his wife gonna get there?
There's a song. Is it called My Wife?
Yes,
I forget.
It's called
There's a
My
song where
Wife.
he keeps singing that his wife is coming, and she's just all through the song she's coming and never gets there. And Jason thought that was hilarious. Then we listened to Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, which is my favorite Beatles record, and then AC/DC Back in Black, which you liked a lot. And I've never been a big AC/DC fan, but that was the best listen to an AC/DC album I've ever had.
And we got.
Of course, I've listened to that album before, but something about today, I just enjoyed it more.
And there was the song from Iron Man.
Yep.
Da, da, no, that's F-Zero.
That is F-Zero. Anyway, and then we listened to the Eagles. We listened to Hotel California. What did you think of that album?
It was just full of ballads, man.
A lot of ballads. Yeah, that's true.
And I don't like ballads.
And then what did you think of Boston?
Oh,
We listened to Boston's album,
yeah.
Boston, the self-titled album.
The Feeling song?
Oh yeah.
That's my favorite.
Karaoke has ruined Boston for me. So many bad karaoke singers doing Boston all the time at karaoke bars has ruined Boston for me. And then we listened to Rumors by Fleetwood Mac, which is one of my favorite albums. Do you like that?
Uh-huh.
And we are halfway in the middle of Abbey Road right now by the Beatles. So our first repeat band.
Which is them walking.
Oh, right, on the album cover.
Yeah.
That's right. But let's see what people say about their favorite albums. Oh, there's Mr. Man's Dude again. And he's just a world record. I'm not sure what
Master of Puppets?
Master of Puppets is
I
great.
love Master of Puppets.
My wife and I are big Metallica fans.
My favorite is Bad.
Oh, yes, of course.
Bad,
is that your
Jackson.
favorite record? Dwan, The Eminem Show. I've never listened to that cover to cover, but I like Eminem well enough. I'm not a big rap guy, but the man's a great lyricist. And I like Venom more than most people. I shouldn't. It's somewhat ironic. I enjoy it somewhat ironically.
What? Hit him!
Hot Flame straight out of Linwood. That is a great album too. Let's see. Mr. Man says Shape of You. Jason does that for karaoke. Psycho Reviewer. Jason is a huge punk rocker. He fights the power. Respect. That's hilarious. No, TMBG, John Henry. Yeah, fist bump across the internet. John Henry is my wife's favorite TMBG album. It's in my top 3. I love John Henry a lot. I don't care what you say to Jeff. It's one of the best TMBG albums. Dwan, no Led Zeppelin. Like I said, Led Zeppelin was the second thing we listened to. No, oh wow, Jason listened to Dark Side and loved it. Psycho Reviewer. They weren't just walking, Jason. They revolutionized walking. That's the best. Blue Hawk Film, you should love your wife, sir. I mean, I do, but when is she gonna get here?
Yeah. I mean, she's not coming to Arkansas, dude.
The Psycho Reviewer. You're gonna love this. It was just full of ballads, man. Can we put that on a t-shirt? Blue Dragon 5, Nat King Cole has some solid albums, I suppose. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Solar Dragon, do you like Nirvana Cap? I do indeed. Heart-Shaped Box for the win. Hayden Spring, I can't listen to Michael Jackson anymore. Yeah, that's fair.
Why not?
Night Watch Gaming, for a reason I can't talk to you about yet until you're a little bit older. Night Watch Gaming, I've recently discovered I like They Might Be Giants. That's awesome, cool. Check out The Else. If you've not listened to The Else, it is, I think, almost objectively their best album. It's not even my favorite. It's just so solid.
Yeah, and they climb the walls.
I would check that. Oh yeah, that's one of my favorite songs. That's Solar Dragon. Hey, wait! I got a new complaint. Blue Dragon 5, tell your wife to come as you are. That's great. Okay, well, we are well past an hour, and we said we were going to do this for an hour, so I think we should probably go ahead and end up now.
It was 77 minutes.
That's true. That's how long we've been broadcasting. Do you have fun?
You have to make a wish at 11:11.
Is that what I got to do?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for reminding me. I'll make sure to do that. Noah, The Else is great. What was that about nanobots? I think nanobots is pretty underrated. I like things on nanobots. I just don't think it's a great album overall. I don't think it's got its own sound. Every song on nanobots, I can point to another album and be like, that song should have been on that album. And I don't think it's a cohesive record. But I do think it is much, much better than the previous album. And I think it's also much better than the most recent album. So Nanobots is better than most recent album. I like Fun. Well, Mint Car, sure, but that's well before that. What is the album that predated it, that was right before, that your mom absolutely despises? That, again, there's a couple things on that I like, but it's just not coming to me immediately. It's got the picture of the 4x4 on the cover. It's just not coming to me right away.
Yeah. He's gonna look it up.
It's just not coming to me right away. But I know it. I just gotta stall until I think of it. Anyway. I don't know why you said that. Hayden Spring, I believe this is yours, Captain America. I don't know why you said that.
He said that if I dab, he'll be happy.
Oh. Okay, what are your least favorite dances, Jason? We're gonna end off here in just a second. This is just gonna drive me. Okay, what after that though? It's gonna drive me insane until I think of it, because it's just not coming to me. Join us. Join us. I don't love.
Oh yeah. Trying to think. I mean, I actually kind of do like dabbing, but yeah. My least favorite is the floss. I hate
The floss. How does that go? He's like, I don't want to do it. I hate it. Then I just get through saying I don't like it.
Actually, I can do it, but I don't like it.
Well, are you not gonna do it?
Yeah.
You're not gonna do it?
I'm not gonna do it.
Okay. Well, anyway, thanks a lot for watching. Sure appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed this impromptu live show. We're going to go ahead and get going. Blue Dragon 5 says, have a nice trip. Jason and I want to play some video games and stuff, so we're going to go ahead and get going right now. But I will see you guys.
Spain! I'm also cute.
I will. We're gonna leave this hotel room with no survivors. Or this Airbnb. This place has been great, though. We will talk to you next week. Got some more stuff coming from me and Dan, as I mentioned on the Captain Logan show the other day. New Captain Logan show next Wednesday, and hopefully a new rewind in the next couple of weeks or so. Thanks a bunch for watching. Jason, say goodbye to everybody.
Oh, bye.
Later, folks.